Good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa Conroy-Roth, and you are watching the latest episode of Lightning Leadership. I'm so excited about my next guest, Dr. Sheva Guy. Not only does she have a doctorate, she's an author, she's an instructor, and she happens to work at Huron Consulting in the organizational change management sector. So with me, Dr. Sheva Guy. Welcome, Sheva.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Today, we're going to talk about bold authenticity and accountability. So tell us what redefining professionalism actually means.
Absolutely. So what I'm really trying to do is get us back to the root of what professionalism actually is and like shatter those misconceptions that professionalism is about what you look like, what your pronouns are, whether you're conforming to what everybody else wants you to do, and those like typical professional standards. So what I like to start with, and I even do this too, is say like, what do you think of when you think the word professional? What picture comes in your mind? And even for me, I think of a white guy in a suit with a tie and a briefcase. Like that's like the first thing you think of. You think professional. You type it into your emojis and like the briefcase icon comes up. And I'm like, okay. Because when we're thinking about professional, number one, it doesn't necessarily mean corporate, right? But that's what we think of.
That's true.
It can be a variety of different things. Like my husband is a professional tile layer. He is an expert at what he does. He is professional, but he wears steel-toed boots and like PPE and all that stuff to work. And honestly, really like it's about not only like shattering the misconceptions that what professionalism isn't, but also what professionalism is. And professionalism is about being good at what you do, keeping up with trends, holding yourself accountable, respecting and being kind to others. And so all of those things are what professional actually is, not the fact that I have tattoos or I'm wearing a jean jacket and not a blazer or whatever. Like what is professionalism really? How can you act professionally? And it doesn't have to do with what you look like just very basic kindergarten, don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing.
Basic human decency, right?
Right. Exactly.
If you have a PhD and you're working full time and you're coming to work and you're doing a great job, does it really matter what you're wearing?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Like I come to work every day, 100% engaged.
Yeah.
Sometimes like today, I felt like putting on a little jewelry because I knew it was on like a podcast and I knew I was giving some presentations, but like tomorrow I will probably be in a t-shirt and sweats and I'm still going to do my job. I complete my work on time. I do a really damn good job if I do say so myself. Like I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing.
Great things. I've heard great things.
I'm a little scattered. I may look a little different than like a person that you may think is like in a corporate job, but that's not what it's about. Like I love what I do and I love the people I work with. And I really appreciate that I'm at a place where I can be my authentic self because that hasn't always been the case for me. So that's another reason why I'm so passionate about it.
So I have a question. So before COVID, I know we were going into the office and there was a certain, I think even within my own career, there was always a certain level of I have to look a certain way. I have to talk a certain way, right? Because I'm in front of people. And I think after COVID, so much of us was shaken during that time. Did you find that people opened up a little bit more with regards to their true selves and who they were? Or what caused that? What caused that shift for us to finally be who we are?
COVID was definitely an instigator for me, but for actually a little bit of different reasons than you described. So I was in higher ed prior to COVID and during COVID and a little bit after. And where I was at, like, I know things are really contentious right now and I'm not going to get into that, but where I was at, like, it was really chill. Like we were actively anti-racist on my campus. We were authentic. We were able to like bring ourselves to work. And so I saw like my professors, like my PhD advisor, my bosses, like they had tattoos and piercings and sure, some were a little bit more buttoned up, some were less, but that's like the beauty of higher ed, right? Like there's so people from so many different walks of life coming together. And then COVID hit and actually things got a little more butts in seats. Like you have to come to work. And that's also part of professionals. Like, why do I have to be in an office to do my job if it doesn't always require that? Sometimes absolutely, but not all the time. So that's when I started like looking for other gigs and ended up in a corporate healthcare setting. And that's when I found out that the world outside higher ed is very different. I got fired very quickly for
Oh
being my
no.
authentic self. They didn't like my tattoos. They didn't like I had my pronouns in my email signature. They didn't like that I was posting about anti-racism on LinkedIn, even though I was a DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, say the words, consultant.
Yes.
But I do believe, because I transitioned to Huron like post-COVID, so I was remote, and I do think that COVID for sure, like in consulting work, shook things up a lot.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't be in consulting if it wasn't for COVID. I can't travel every single week with the life that I have and all like the many creatures and humans in my household. And I have, and I have found too, like being able to work with higher ed clients. I really like being in that space. And so I think things have been able to become a little bit more, it's more about the work you do and less about how you show up physically, right? But I still think there's some lingering, there's still some lingering like of what professionalism traditionally looks like, even still. But the shift to remote work certainly made a huge difference.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time together. So be bold, be authentic, be brave, right? That's kind of the message to take away. And again, you're performing, you're doing a great job. You're in rooms that I couldn't even dream of being in, right? And so that's so exciting. I love smart women doing great things. Sheva Guy, thank you so much.
Thank you for
have
having me.
a great rest of the day. For those of you that are following along, keep an eye out on us on LinkedIn. We also have a YouTube video as well as Spotify. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Till next time. Yay.